Level 2 results were out this morning. When I saw the pass rate, it was, whoa! I had to go and look at when the last time the pass rate was that high. Here it is at the bottom of the screen here. I'll highlight it in a blue square. 59% for May of 2024. Scrolling back, you got to go back to 1998 to get a pass rate that high. 26 years ago at 62%. That was something. That's coming off the back of last week when we saw the level 1 pass rate at 46%. I'll put a blue box around that. It was 49% in 2020. And previous to that, I think you had to go back to 2009. Here it is up there at 46%. So these are some fairly high pass rates. So we have to sort of ask the question: Is this an anomaly for this year, or is this a trend going forward? To determine whether or not there's something more to it than just an anomaly. I thought I would look at contrast enrollment rates pre-pandemic and for 2023 and how we're doing so far in 2024, because that could be part of the story. On the next screen, I'll lay out a couple of questions that we can ask ourselves to determine whether or not this is just this year, this is an anomaly, or maybe this is in response to something else. What you're seeing on the screen is a spreadsheet that CFAI has for you. If you Google CFAI historical pass rates, you'll get to this PDF. I've just cut it off at a certain point to fit it onto the screen. The columns are total pass, did not pass in percent for level 1, level 2, and the purple column at the end is level 3. Have a look at 2019, and I'll just highlight it here on the corner of the screen. And we're going to compare that with 2023. Makes sense. You wouldn't compare it with 2020, 2021, or 2022 because the pandemic messed up 2020 and a lot of 2021. Even into 2022, there were still some center cancellations. That was pretty much all done in 2023. So if we look at level 1, 2019 versus 2023, you had a 41% drop in enrollment in 2023 versus 2019. Never bounced back. 41% drop in enrollment. And then going into 2024, the February exam, February 24 over February 23, was down slightly, 0.16, call it even. But the May exam had a drop of 9.6% year over year, 21,000 versus 23,000. Heading into level 2, 2019 versus 2023, down 47% in 2023 versus pre-pandemic, 47%. And if we look at the May 2023 over the May 2024, or sorry, the 24 over 23, down another 10% in 24 over 23 after 23 was down 47% from 2019. These are sort of like emergency drops in numbers. If I was looking at these numbers, I certainly would be convening a meeting of my top management and saying, what the hell is going on here? How do we stop this? How do we turn this around? What is going on? Let's look at level 3. To 2023 over pre-pandemic 2019, down almost 20%, 19.5%. And then if we look at February 2024 over February 2023, down another 8.3%. These aren't... We're well past the pandemic now going into 2024, and enrollment is down from 2023. And 2023 was, I think, a fairly clean year, and that is down significantly from pre-pandemic, which is 2019. So we do have to ask the question, what is going on here? Okay, here I'm going to offer, a couple of potential explanations of why the pass rate would be 59%. The big question I guess we have to ask is, are we looking at an anomaly here that's going to go away, or are we looking at a trend? An anomaly for both the lower registration rates and the higher pass rate. Is that an anomaly or a trend? or is the higher pass rate a result of the lower pass rates? The lower registration rate. So all I've done here is I've replicated what we had on the last screen so that we have some point of reference. 2023 versus 2019 registration those who wrote the exam. Level 1 down 41%, level 2 down 47%, level 3 down 19%. And then 2024 over these lower numbers for 2023. The level 1 exam for February was down 0.16. Level 3 was down 8.3. Going into May 24 over 23. Level 1 down 9.6. Level 2 down 10%. Contrast that with the pass rates for level 1, February 44%, May 46%. Long-term pass rate for level 1 is 41%. For level 2, the pass rate's 59%, long-term pass rate of 46%, coming in above the long-term pass rates. And for level 3, we had 49% in February, long-term pass rate of 55%. This is lower than it was historically. We usually see somewhere in the mid-50s for level 3. 49 is better than some of the previous years, but still on the low side. Looking at the decline in enrollment in 2023 versus 2019, the big question here, and I don't have an answer for this because I don't have the data, is it random or is it clustered? Random would speak to something bigger, something more brand specific, a rejection of the brand, a rejection of the credential perhaps, because each cohort, I would say, has got about a 4 to 6 year cycle. Meaning that those who enter level 1, by the time they exit level 3, about 4 to 6 years. And you have the cohort change. And a university is about 4 years. Some take a little bit longer, but 4 years. High school is about 4 years. So you can expect the kind of attitude to slowly change with each cohort. And there may be a big change in the attitude towards formal education from newer cohorts. That there's less, I wouldn't say respect, but I don't have a better word to use right now, but less respect for formal education, less of a realization of its importance, or maybe an agreement that, well, it's not as important as it used to be. We're seeing some government jobs doing away with the degree requirement. We're seeing some corporations doing away with the degree requirement. Maybe formal education isn't that important anymore. So if it's random, it could be something bigger at the brand level. If it is clustered, on the other hand, it could be the result of the low pass rates we did see through 2022 and some of 2023. You can recall some of those pass rates were in the low 20%. That would discourage some people from taking it, but discourage those who felt that it was too hard. It would discourage them more. More than likely, candidates who might have been C students or low B students who maybe didn't really look at this and say, I'm willing to really try hard, and looked at it and said, God, it just got a lot harder. There's going to be a lot of work. Maybe they self-selected out so that what was left was a candidate pool which had a higher propensity to put in the time and a higher probability to pass. If it was clustered, we can see that, okay, there was some discouragement. Some people decided not to write, but the ones who decided not to write were more than likely the ones that had a lower probability of passing. That might explain the higher pass rate if you had clustering. I don't know the answer to this. I'm just throwing out hypotheses that somebody with data can test. But if you have a lower enrollment, I guess my first question, if I saw this, is this random or is this clustered? How can we test this? One thing is for certain, if it were me and I saw these numbers, we are having emergency meetings. We are having emergency meetings, period. If this were 2020, understandable. If this were 2021, okay. 2022, I still think we need a meeting. 2023, this is pants on fire emergency meeting right now, period. These are big numbers. And then into 2024 to see another drop down. 10%, 8.3%, 9.6. Yeah, we're having meetings, we're figuring things out. This would have been my first question here. Is this random or is it clustered? If it's random, we have a PR issue. We've got to do something. If it's clustered, how do we fix that? Right? How do we take care of that? So let's look at other possibilities here. And again, this is the big question that's still left out there: anomaly or trend. The negative registrations here, the negative enrollments. I think that's trend. But the numbers we're seeing here for May, I don't know. Well, you can't call it a trend with one data point. But if you think that there was a response to the trend, it might explain this. But this still could be an anomaly, right? Let's look at the product. The new modules that are replacing the readings. I say replacing the readings. They just call them modules now instead of readings. But they are more condensed, they are shorter, they are focused around 1 or 2 learning objectives as opposed to 9, 10, 11, 12 learning objectives. So if you take like 4 modules, maybe that used to be 1 reading. They are less specific and more general. In other words, when I say less specific, less specialized. So some of the more technical details, some of the more advanced content has been taken out. Another way to say it is they were dumbed down. Which, is sort of an insulting word to use, dumbed down. A more flattering word, I think, is to say that they're less specific than they used to be. They're more general. There are fewer concepts and more examples. So this alone could make the job of preparing for the exam easier. There are fewer concepts to learn, and of those concepts, they are less technical than they used to be. In other words, they're easier. And the more examples that are provided allow me a good opportunity to say, oh, okay, now I get it. Seeing one example, you might say, well, what if it was a bad example? You're more confused than when you started. When you have 3, 4 examples, you have a good opportunity to say, okay, I get it now. So this could do something. Problem is, level 2, level 1 got a big redo in terms of moving towards the modular approach, being less specific with fewer concepts. Level 2, not that many readings over the last 4 or 5 years have had an opportunity to change like level 1. Enough, but not enough. 15 to 20% wouldn't be enough to push a pass rate that was mid-40s into almost 60%, 15% up. How many standard deviations is that, right? Level 3, even less than 10%. So this may account for the higher pass rate at level 1, less so at level 2, but it certainly doesn't account for the lower registration. Let's think about strategy. We do have significantly lower numbers, and I don't have any studies that have been put out there. Questionnaire studies asking university students, what is your perception of the designation? What is your perception of the work? What is, if you have something like that year after year after year, you might be able to see a trend in the data. I don't have anything like that, but I can observe things. I know on Reddit there is a growing negative tone about the CFA and CFAI in particular, and about leadership in particular. When you look at the more recent AMAs, where you have somebody from CFAI in an Ask Me Anything, and I think the CEO did one. She did one a while back, and there was some negative stuff on there. There were some people who were just not happy with the whole thing. You would never have gotten that before. There was a level of reverence and respect for the institution, and you might get one angry person in there, but not to the tone that it has become. So there is a growing negative tone. This is one I hear a lot as well. There's a growing AI concern. Is it even worth putting it out all this effort, spending all that money with these low pass rates when AI is just gonna do it all for us anyways? I mean, is Is the role of the charter holder almost obsolete because of AI? Because we know that's not going to stop. It's not going to stop. It's not there yet, but it's not going to stop. It's going to keep going. And if it is along these lines, the growing negative tone, the growing concern about AI, intersect the two. And growing concern about AI and you're negative about this anyways, it's an easy decision to say, I don't need this. Why would I take something that's going to be obsolete? Right? So maybe there was a conclusion that it's not worth all the effort for the low pass rates. Well, what can you fix if you're CFAI? You can't fix much about the growing AI concerns. You have a growing negative tone, but that's related to the pass rates, and maybe that is leading to your significantly lower numbers. So what can you fix? Make the pass rate higher. It seems to fit. It would, if it were me sitting in that room, that would be one of the options I would have listed on the whiteboard. How do we fix this? Number one, pass rate. If we are becoming less specific and more general, if we are introducing fewer concepts, if AI is going to take away a lot of the more technical and difficult stuff for us, well, what do we need to be so rigorous for? Right? Well, isn't it enough for us to put a candidate out there that we say, look, they have a good general understanding of all of these things? Isn't that good enough? What do we need to be this rigorous for? It's clearly hurting us. It would be an option on the whiteboard is to raise the pass rates, raise the minimum passing score. So this, thinking that there's something going on with strategy and maybe the higher pass rate is part of a bigger strategy, this takes the lower registration as external, that this is sort of given. We've observed this and said we need to do something. So it may account for the higher pass rates if in fact we're making the pass rate higher to counter the negative tone, to try to increase these numbers. And if in fact we do have a clustering effect going on here, it might bring these people back in. But think about it, no matter what organization you're in, no matter who you are, no matter what you're selling, no matter what you're doing, if you looked at this, and let me just highlight this again, if you looked at these numbers, would you not be having a meeting? All hands on deck? No idea is off limits? Kill all the sacred cows because something has to change. That minimum passing score has been a sacred cow of CFAI for a very long time. They were proud of that. They were proud of the fact that it was considered the most rigorous exam in finance. Proud of it, but is it now working against them? I don't know. I'm just, putting out possible ideas of what we can think of. That 59%, when I saw it, it was a shock. It was like, whoa, what happened here? I mean, they had to be aware when the numbers were done and they looked at the 59. Either inside CFAI there was also the same, whoa, let's run these numbers again, let's make sure this is right, or there was okay, yeah, that looks better. That looks better. Let's see what that does now. Okay, I have 4 important points to make at the top of the screen here. If you are part of a cohort that is subject to a growing narrative of this doesn't matter anymore, formal education doesn't have the respect it used to have, credentials don't have the respect they used to have, AI is going to replace it. We don't need any of this stuff. If this is what you are hearing or what you are slowly agreeing to, let me correct you on this very quickly. Number one, credentials are not dead in the least. Ignore them at your own disadvantage. You decide you don't want any letters behind your name, you will be disadvantaged. They demonstrate initiative. They demonstrate a willingness to put in the effort. They demonstrate the ability to learn, and they act as a signaling device in the absence of other evidence. You are applying for a job. You see one posted. You think, I can do that. You have no post-secondary education on your resume. You have no advanced designations on your resume. I'm not seeing anything there. You're not even getting in the room because you're not signaling to me that you know anything. The idea behind a credential is that an independent body has decided that you know a certain amount of material, that you know something, and it's signaling to me that you have at least that general level of knowledge, that you're not starting from zero. So if you don't have any of that, how do I know anything? Take your word for it. That's not going to happen on a piece of paper. Number 2, never underestimate their impact on other people. Even if you say, well, I got a degree and it never got me anywhere, still put those letters behind your name, because they will have an impact on other people. And big secret of the world here, you need other people to be successful. Even if you go it alone, even if you say, I'm just going to build my own business, you need customers. And customers are going to say, well, why should I choose you over anyone else? You better be able to signal that you have a certain level of competence. That's what those things will do. Never underestimate their impact on other people. Never underestimate the power of community. There is a community in the CFAI world. There are CFA societies. If you are in charge of hiring some new people and you're sifting through resumes, you see that CFA, it does hit you. You do say, that's somebody from my tribe. That's one of my people. That resume will move over to the other pile. They may not get in the room, but there's 3 stages, right? You have a big pile of resumes. You got to make that pile a smaller pile of resumes. From that, you then have your interviews, and then from that, you then hire, right? The more credentials you have, the more likely you are to at least get in this pile. The more that you can identify, or that be identified with a community, you may get into this pile, which is getting into the room. We'll talk about getting the job from getting the room in a minute. Last one, experience matters. I won't discount that. If you come back to me and say, why should I bother with that? Experience is the only thing that matters. Well, no, it's not the only thing that matters, but you're right. Experience matters. Don't wait for your first job. Get closer to the real world now. You're sitting in a room and another person is sitting in a room and I'm interviewing you and I have to hire you. None of you have experience. I get that, because we're hiring entry level. And I say to you, what do you think the central bank's next move will be? And you say, I don't know, because you haven't followed it, because you don't have a job. You say to me, well, I don't have any experience. I don't have a job. Yeah, but you don't need a job to follow that. It's on Bloomberg all the time. It's in the financial press all the time. It's in your news feed. If you click on financial markets, stock markets, economics, it's in your Apple news feed all the time. It's there all the time. You don't need experience to have that. And if you can't carry on that conversation with me, who are you? If the other person carry on that conversation, you don't need experience to be experienced about the world. Okay, you don't actually have to get a job to get experience. It's not like, well, I can't start getting experience till somebody actually gives me the opportunity to get it. You can do it yourself. Get closer to the real world now, right? Make sure that you are associated with some community somewhere. That could be the school you graduated from. Some schools have very tight community. If not, get yourself a designation. Get yourself an advanced designation, because there is a society for that. There is a sense of community there. Never, ever underestimate the power they have on other people. And believe me, credentials are far from dead. So if the lower registrations are coming because of this growing sense that, wow, what does this matter? It does. Period. Okay? All right, let's talk about what you do now. And of course, it's going to be a little self-serving, because I am going to tell you that being a prep provider, we can help you, and that's what we're going to do here. Level 2, you passed. Your option is level 3, February 2025. There is no November level 3. There's only February and August. You can't take August. Select the Full Access Plus. That includes the applied level. $789 US. If you don't want the plus, full access only is $469, but I am recommending the Full Access Plus. You get the applied level. There is a July 31st deadline to be grandfathered in for all content. I I always, or continually, I shouldn't say always, continually add to the applied level, and I will continue to do that. There is no expiration on this, by the way. So if you took Full Access Plus, while the Full Access to level 3 expires shortly after the exam, the Plus keeps going, which is the applied level. You'll always have access to that. There are new modules coming up that will have recurring revenue associated with them, either 50 a month or 25 a month, depending on the module. So from August 1st onwards, any new subscriber, you get the applied level, but the add-on modules, you'd have to pay for them if you wanted them. If you are a subscriber by July 31st, then you're grandfathered in. You never pay for anything else again. So that is $789 if you're going to level 3. If you're staying at level 2, you did not pass. I see no reason why you would want to go past November of 2024. It's the same content. And you can't register for 2025 yet. May 2025 opens August 8th. And then you are all the way into May, and you run the risk of new content. You're not starting from zero. I don't think that you need a full year to get this done. You can get this done by November. If you had a subscription with us and you did not pass for level 2, you do have the 1 fee to pass. You don't pay again. You can extend to the November 2024 exam window, or you can upgrade to Full Access Plus for level 2, and you would only pay the incremental difference, which is $320. If you are new to us at level 2, so you did not use a provider, you didn't pass, or you used a different provider and you did not pass, and you want to make the jump, or if you passed level 1 and you just simply haven't registered for level 2 yet, the Full Access or Full Access Plus. The Full Access Plus is $719 US. It does include the applied level. If you don't want the Plus, just level 2 Full Access is $399. This is for November of 2024, right? If you're looking for May of 2025, you're going to have to wait another 4 or 5 weeks for registration to open up, and we cannot list or offer level 2 for 2025 until CFAI opens it up for registration August 8th. August 8th. Please don't ask in the comment section when it opens up. It's August 8th. If you're just a CFA candidate from somewhere else, in other words, whether you passed level 2 or did not pass level 2, level 3, CFA charter, level 1, whatever the case is, if you're a CFA candidate anywhere, you can add the applied series for $320 rather than $440. It's $440 naturally. If you're part of a community, which means you are part of the CFA community, you get it for $320. You do not have to be a subscriber, a CFA subscriber on our site to get the reduced pricing for it, as long as you're part of the community. See that? See the power of community already? The power of community is already worth $120. Look at that. Let's talk about level 1. We talked about level 1 passing up here, so all we have to do is just talk about level 1 did not pass last week. No reason why you would want to go past November. You're not starting from zero. And you don't want new content. You want the same content. So you just re-register for November. If you had the 1 fee to pass, if you were a subscriber with us and you did not pass, you can extend to November, or you can upgrade to Full Access Plus. You pay the incremental $320 for the applied level. If you are new to us for level 1, guess what? Guess what I'm recommending? Full Access Plus. Look at that, $689. If you don't want the plus part, you take $320 off the $689. But again, I remind you, there is a July 31st deadline. If you decide at some point to add it, then any of the newer modules with the recurring revenue or the subscription fee, you would have to pay if you wanted those extra modules. And again, if you are a CFA candidate anywhere else, you can add the applied level for $320. And that's it.